I'm Simon Richards, I'm the head gardener here at Scolton Manor, and I've got the very fortunate job of looking after this beautiful walled garden. I've been working here now 5.5 years, and I've been able to help really develop the garden from a basic model where it was completely restored about 7 years ago, and each year we're starting to work more and more on design of beds and making it more and more beautiful. I only work here 2 days a week, so it's far too much work for one person, and luckily we've got a fantastic group of volunteers called the Green Team who have volunteered to come here every time that I come in to work, and was 12 in number now, and another 2 have just signed up. So we've got a lovely group of people who, to be honest, are making the garden and developing the whole site, and bit by bit we're working in the walled garden but also in part of the rest of the 60 acres of the site here as well. And I'm standing in front of these amazing lupins. This is a plant that we grow every year from seed to keep them nice, fresh and vibrant. So we've got these just flowering their heads off here now at the end of May. They've come through those horrible winds we've just seen, and they're still looking glorious. So this is a plant that we've actually seen in some old photographs of the family about 80 or 90 years ago, before the council owned Scolton Manor. It was in the same family for 400 years, a Higgin family. And we've got some lovely photographs of Ma Higgin cutting some lupins for the house. So we always try and grow lupins to have that link with heritage. Well, the apple trees are a key part of a walled garden. Fruit is always a big part. Walled gardens were very popular in the 1700s and 1800s. Indeed, this one was built about 1850. And this one's just over an acre, 1.1 acres. And fruit and vegetables and flowers would have been the primary crops grown in the walled garden. And we make the most of the walls because it gives us vertical growing space. If we were to put these apple trees in the middle as an orchard, a traditional orchard, they take up a huge amount of space with their branches. But if we espalier them, like we have here, we flatten the stems across the wall, so we get a really great crop but doesn't take a lot of area up. We've actually got 66 apple trees, all of different varieties, every single one, all the way around the walls of the garden. Some of them Welsh varieties, some cooking, some eating, and some used for both. So very, very pleased about those. And they're very ornamental. Part of an walled garden is to look beautiful as well as be productive. So that's why we do this, because when they were flowering a few weeks ago, before the leaves had fully come out, it was just like a spring blossom tree. The head gardener was a very important role within all country estates, and they used to have quite a team of staff to support them. It's a 7-day-a-week job, of course, and you couldn't have gone and popped down to the supermarket to buy your produce. So, and it's usually wealthy families, of course, that owned these homes, and they wanted to be given as much produce as possible throughout the year. So they all used to vie for the best head gardener with the greatest skills to provide the most food and also the dramatic flowers for the house. And even as a crop, the pineapple became the most fundamental and sought after fruit because it was an exotic fruit from the Caribbean and other parts of the world that couldn't be transported fresh on the boats because it would always go off en route. So there was a massive craze for growing pineapples in the late 1700s and early 1800s. And pineapples became the most prized crop within a stately home. And in fact, if you had a good head garden and you could grow more than one, you often rented your pineapple out for dinner parties around the area for £1 a day. And they were held in that sort of esteem. And we're lucky enough to have a pineapple house still functioning within Scolton Manor walled garden. Yeah, it's a fabulous construction because there are very, very few genuine pineapple greenhouses around anywhere within the UK. They're a completely different design, and they were designed specifically to grow pineapples, which is incredible to think about these days. I mean, you can buy a pineapple now for £1, can't you? But back in the day, they were worth hundreds of pounds, each fruit. And of course, it was before you had oil and gas heating. So you had to maintain a minimum temperature year-round for pineapples to survive, which meant you had to have heating in the winter. And that was done with coal. And so a fire had to be kept in the whole time to keep these little chaps warm, because these are the pineapple plants. We've got variegated ones here and also the green varieties. And there were many different varieties, like there are Pembrokeshire potatoes, there were many different pineapple varieties. This one's called the Queen, and produced a beautiful pineapple just suitable for tinning, because it had the right shape and size to form within the tin. So this one was grown for that reason. So, and we were really lucky 2 seasons ago, because what we do with these pineapples, because we don't actually heat this greenhouse now, because I haven't got a couple of young chaps living, you know, in a bothy beside the main house, because they used to be responsible for keeping the fires going through the night back in the day. So we actually have to lift these plants and we move them into the main house, which is obviously heated through the winter, and put them on the windowsills, and they manage to get through the winter that way, and we bring them back. And so we had a really good summer, I think it was 3 years ago now, and we managed to grow a real pineapple on our pineapple plants, which was great, because usually they need that extra bit of heat that we couldn't give. And so we produced kind of a 2/3 size pineapple, but it's a beautiful dark orange, and it smelt superb, really sweet. So we're hoping, the summer's not been great so far, but hopefully we get a good burst. These plants are big enough to form a pineapple, and what happens is you get a stem appearing here, a flowering stem, and it just, this long stalk, a bit like an amaryllis flower, comes up, pushes up, and you've got this beautiful multicoloured flower, which has got a little pineapple leaf on the top of it, and that flower slowly forms into a pineapple. So you have this pineapple sitting right in the centre like a bromeliad plant. It's a stunning look. So fingers crossed we'll get a really hot summer, and maybe visitors can come and see a pineapple once again in Scolton Manor.